This is the Retirement Bullpen with Richard Warner. The team at Warner Financial Solutions want to help you feel confident about your retirement, no matter where you stand. Get more at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Now, the Retirement Bullpen.
We are back in the Retirement Bullpen. Yes, the phone has rang. We're off the bench. And we're back here warming up, getting you ready for retirement there and making sure our fastball, curveball, split change, sweeper, and all that stuff are ready to go. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull, but the host, the man whose name is on the marquee of this show, Retirement Income Certified Professional, Richard Warner. And, of course, he's the founder, too, of Warner Financial Solutions in the greater Omaha, Nebraska area. Richard, I think the phone, for the sense I get from going call to call, you've been busy off the hook here to end 2024. How you doing?
Doing great. How about yourself, Doug? Yes, very, very busy. It's staying steady even going into Christmas.
Yeah, that's wild. Does it make things differently with your timelines at all? We were just discussing this here at our marketing studios here in Atlanta, Georgia. Is it different that Christmas is in the middle of the week and New Year's is? Does that make the timelines weird because you have like the weekends and holidays are kind of separate and you don't know when things are due?
I think a lot of people are hesitant to schedule appointments and things like that when it's in the middle of the week because it feels like you almost that week, although it's not been that way so far, but it feels like that week generally is just nothing going on because when it falls in the middle of the week. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Nobody wants to conduct business because there's so many things that could happen. Christmas is on Wednesday, but then you got the weekend, and they're just but this year hasn't been quite that way though.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad. Well, nonetheless, and you and other people in your industry I've talked to seem to have been quite busy here, ending up this time of year. Of course, we just came off the election, so maybe people were hesitant and waiting till after that, but then they had year-end deadlines. So there's been a lot going on. Well, today we're going to talk about simply having enough to retire, Richard. And y'all are hearing this right around Christmas time there, so you're probably feeling the pinch on the wallet. Comedian Gary Gulman talks about income inequality in his field, which is stand-up comedy. You might get a kick out of this.
The income inequality is just cartoonish. Even in my business, just the difference between me and... Do you remember the guy who played Jerry on Seinfeld? Okay. He's in the same business, ostensibly, as I am, but he is worth over $1 billion. Is he $999,911,000 better than me? And now you know my net worth.
Yes, there you go. I love that. Do you know Jerry from Seinfeld? The guy that played Jerry from Seinfeld. That's my favorite line of that. I mean, but yeah, that is funny when you think about these outlandish numbers. And Richard, I know you follow baseball very well, and you probably just saw in the last couple weeks here Juan Soto signing 15 years, $760-some million, and a big fat signing bonus to it. It makes you go, gosh. I mean, I know Juan Soto is great, but is he 1,000 times greater than someone who's maybe just coming into the league that might be the next big superstar? You have to wonder sometimes, but the market don't lie, I guess.
Wasn't that a mind-blowing number? I mean, that amount, wow. Just to go play a game.
And paying taxes in New York, no less, too.
Yeah.
That's no fun. A lot of these, too, had these deferred money and all that stuff. But no less, I think Jerry Seinfeld's impact felt far more than just behind the mic on the stand-up comedy stage, all the movies and shows and everything like that.
Oh, for sure.
Let's get into it today. I would love to know some rules of thumb you have, Richard, for having enough to retire. And I'm sure that number goes up as inflation keeps getting a hold of us over time. But how do you walk your clients through who come for the first time to Warner Financial Solutions and get in touch with you at warnerfinancialsolutions.com?
So let's start off with the big fear that a lot of people have. Probably most of the people that I meet when they're nearing this point. Do I have enough to retire? And if I do, how do I know? How do I make that all work? It's a legitimate concern. And as we've discussed on other shows, nobody wants to wake up at 80, 85 years old and everything's gone except their Social Security check, or maybe they're lucky enough to have a pension as well, but they have nothing else left. And now they've got to figure out, I've got to live on this, or I got to go back to work and generate income. And that fear it drives a lot of people to not really be sure what to do. It drives them to take maybe some scenarios more risk than they want to, or maybe not enough risk. Fear can drive us to do irrational things. So what we want to do first off is we want to let you know we've seen it. We've helped hundreds and hundreds and met with thousands of individuals just like you who have these same concerns, these same questions. And so we want to take a starting point and we want to look at where are you at? What are you trying to achieve? And then to be a little funny is, when do you want this income to end? And that's a nice way of saying, when are you going to die? Obviously, nobody likes to answer that question or want to think about that question. But really, it's basic math. How much do you have? How much are you going to spend on a regular basis? And what do you have coming in month after month after month? And how long do we need to project that out? Most people prefer to project longer than they think is reality. Okay. Some people, I'll say, I like, if they're not sure, I say, let's project to 90, 95 years old. And some people, there's no way I'm going to make it to that point. Well, then where do you think we should project to? And they'll give me a number. Some people, I say that to, like, well, my dad and my uncle and my aunt and my grandma and my sister, they all live to be 105 or whatever it is. Like, well, in your case, we probably should project at least to age 100, because in your genetics, you've got some chances to hit triple digits. And I know not very many of us make it to that point. I actually personally know somebody that just did, and my grandma's actually really, really close. So I know some people that have. And obviously, when you get to that point, you have very little ability to generate income. So you're very dependent upon those around you. So you want to do this planning on the front end. So, but to make it as simple as we can is, yes, you're feeling some fear, you're experiencing fear. Everybody does. That's natural. Okay. You are going from a place where you have taken a paycheck week after week, month after month, year after year, and you're saying, I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to depend upon the Social Security system, the Medicare system, maybe my pension if I have one, and whatever I've put away in my 401ks, my IRAs, all that, and I'm going to turn that into a predictable income stream that's going to last the rest of my life. How do we do that? And that's basically in our one-on-one consultation, our initial consultation. We'll sit down and we'll take all that information. We'll gather all that stuff. We'll project it out. We'll put some variables in there. What happens if Mr. Smith passes away early? What happens if Mrs. Smith goes into a nursing home? What happens if we live longer? What happens if we take Social Security early versus later? How do all of these variables work? And in the end, what is the best way to go so we can achieve the end result? And there's, Doug, there's some people we've had to say, it might not be smart for you to retire quite yet. You might want to wait another 6 months, another year, another 5 years. It depends upon, what point they're at when they're coming to us with these questions.
And you have the ability to project too. I mean, you're saying just a 6-month difference in retiring, could be the difference because things multiply and compound and so forth.
Well, I'll give you an example on this, not to use names, but recently met, not recently, I've known her for a few years, but she's contemplating retirement. And so we recently met here. And one of the options she found out she has is this payout. If she makes it to a certain point of working with the company, she has like a 7-month, it's almost like a severance. They're just going to keep paying her for 7 more months. She just has to make it. And she basically needed to work 2 more months than what she wanted to work. And once we found that out, that was a no-brainer. Again, that's a unique situation, but that particular company said, hey, yeah, if you work till this point, we're going to pay you month after month after month for the next 7 months. So that makes her situation look a lot better from the standpoint of now she can defer the Social Security a little longer. She can get to the end of a calendar year. So from a tax standpoint, her withdrawals and her Social Security looks better in the year she's going to start turning everything on. Because when you're taking regular income and you start matching that with Social Security, that can create more taxes on your Social Security than you would like. So then you're keeping less of your money. But when you mirror that or put that together with your withdrawals that you need the following year and your Social Security, now we're in a completely different situation where she's keeping all of her Social Security check. So it just dramatically changed her situation from the standpoint of she can defer Social Security a little longer. She doesn't need to take money out of her IRA quite as soon. And she gets to keep more of it because it's all starting in a calendar year with it, where the situation is the income from work is not going to affect your Social Security from a tax standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. And the later you can wait to draw off certain things, it doesn't add to your income, so to speak, doesn't make the taxes go. There's so many factors to consider when parsing through that. So if someone's hearing this right now and Richard, they're like, okay, well, I never thought of all that. Or maybe they want to hear more about your calculus into figuring out, do they have enough to retire, or how much longer they should wait? What should they do if they're not yet a client at Warner Financial Solutions?
Just reach out to us. You can find us on our website. You can find us on our Facebook page. You can call us, and we will schedule a no cost, no obligation consultation. It's just, we're having a conversation. You and I, maybe it's a couple and myself, we are having a conversation. This can be done over a phone call. This can be done in your living room. This can be done Zoom. You can come to our office, whatever's most comfortable for you. And really, it is a opportunity for you to address some of your concerns about retiring, for you to share with us some of your scenarios about how you're going to pull this off, and for us to take a look at this snapshot, if you will, and get an idea what is feasible and what's not. I'm also probably going to give you some homework. Like, for example, in this story's example, she needed to do a little homework with her HR department to see what is available for me, because there's some times where if you just shoot an email to your HR person or call your HR person, you're going to find out some stuff about your benefits that you don't even know you have. Yeah. Just because you've been at this job, maybe you've been at your job for 30, 40 years, and stuff you signed up for, you don't even remember. I mean, we don't remember what we did last year, much less 30 years ago in a lot of scenarios. So there's some homework we're going to do to figure out how this all works the best together. But the idea then is we want to put this all together, and we want to create the same livelihood, if we possibly can, going forward the day you step away from work, and make that predictable for the rest of your life. So you don't have to worry about at age 80, 85, waking up and saying, hey, the money's gone, I'm going to have to go be a greeter, whatever it might be. We don't want you to have to go through that. So it just takes a little bit of planning on the front end to make that happen. And we walk you through that process.
There's no doubt that it doesn't just happen magically, that maybe the people in your life that you've known that have had a good retirement, it wasn't just that they were rich or something. It took planning. It took planning, folks. It took people like you, Richard, who've been in this industry. You started the firm in 2012, have been in the industry long before that, to sit down with them and see, number crunch all the scenarios and walk them through just that. You said something at the very beginning here before we sign off on this episode. Fear could drive us in the wrong direction, or can put us in the wrong way. And I'm sure if somebody came in panicking, right, they probably would be a lot less prone to making a smart decision.
That's exactly right. When you are afraid, when you are driven by, well, a lot of times fear is irrational. I mean, a lot of the things we're afraid of never come to pass. They just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, just take for a second the conversations you've had. So you're going to have a tough conversation with somebody. The stuff you imagine in your head that's going to happen with that conversation, well, that applies to a lot of areas. It applies to the financial side as well. A lot of those things, I still remember to this day, a client whose spouse really wanted him to retire, and he kept telling her, we're going to be living under a bridge. And every time I do a review with them, I keep telling him, like, hey, you're still not living under a bridge, are you? And he just laughs. And it's been years. But part of it is planning. Planning will take a lot of the fear. We can't completely get rid of all of it. And there's only so many guarantees that we can make. But planning, just having an idea what it looks like, gets rid of the vast majority of your fear. So take that step and make the call, and we can, at least, if nothing else, answer some questions and take a little bit of that fear and anxiety off your shoulders.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but the best path to not having it anyway. There's no guarantee you're not. Some people are just prone that way, right? But at least you have the numbers in front of you. Even when you get scared, you can look and say, well, I've got a plan. I've got a plan. I'm not trying to decide right now when all my intensity or my hormones or my nerves are up. So that is Richard Warner there, who's got great advice for you. By the way, his firm, Warner Financial Solutions, I feel like it's very holistic, Richard. I mean, I'm looking at the things you all do: Medicare planning, Social Security maximization, retirement income plan. That's basically what we just talked about. Roth conversions, wealth management. I mean, you all do it all. And and they can get in touch with you, 402-274-9185. You can subscribe to the newsletter and the podcast, and really all of it, one-stop shop, Richard, WarnerFinancialSolutions.com. And I appreciate you making the time here in this busy end-of-year planning season.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Doug.
Yeah, it's great to be on with you. And thank you all for listening to the Retirement Bullpen. Thank you very much as well to our producer, Brandon Benefield, who's busy hustling these shows together and getting them published and put into cyberspace. Subscribe on Apple and Spotify and turn on the notifications. That's how I know when these come out. They usually come out every Tuesday or so, and the other podcasts I've subscribed to too. It really helps me. So again, subscribe on Apple and Spotify. And if you know someone that needs to hear this, they maybe don't have a retirement plan. You know, your older brother's getting right up to the age, maybe, whatever it is. Maybe you just had a discussion here at the holidays and realized, wow, someone is up the creek and they don't have someone to help them paddle. Send them the Retirement Bullpen podcast and help them get in touch with Richard Warner and Warner Financial Solutions. Well, y'all, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to you as well. And we will have another episode coming your way shortly here on the Retirement Bullpen.
Insurance products are offered to the insurance business Warner Financial. Warner Financial is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Warner Financial are not subject to investment advisor requirements. NPN number 7617022. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be considered as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Warner Financial is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Warner Financial.